Hey guys, it's Alaysia here, or Allie, whichever. I don't really care what you prefer, so you can call me whatever. Today we're going to be talking about the heartbreaking case of Emma Walker and her death. So, Emma Walker was a 16-year-old girl, and she attended Central High School in Knox County, Tennessee. She was an honor student and a star cheerleader, and many said that she was a 5'4" playful ball of energy. She got along with everyone. She was very warm-hearted, sarcastic, goofy, and just loved life. And her goals for after schooling were to become a nurse. And Emma was gorgeous, and since she was gorgeous, many guys liked her, but only one guy was lucky enough for her to like him back, and that was Gaul. Riley was 2 years older than Emma, making him 18 at the time that this all happened. And this was a typical cheerleader jock type of couple. Riley was a football player and he was very sporty. They dated on and off for 2 years, so starting when Emma was about 14 or 15, she was a freshman in high school, and they were dating on and off for 2 years until Riley graduated to play wide receiver at a local college. So Emma and Riley became a couple pretty quickly. They were the type that were very on again, off again, and Riley became very controlling of Emma as time went on. He was constantly calling and texting her when she was with friends and not with him, and he would call her upwards of 20 times. He also tried to control what she would wear, and he would wait outside of her job for hours on end after they had fights. They had a lot of dramatic fights, which often involved hurtful words and a lot of yelling, and Riley also had a tendency to be very disrespectful towards Emma. I'm going to put a screenshot on the screen of a Snapchat that Riley sent to Emma, and he said, "I hate you. I hate everything about you. You're the biggest bitch I've ever come into contact with." So Riley had once said, "I'll check for your name in the obituary," and this is sort of insinuating that Riley wanted Emma dead. But when he was confronted by Emma's mom, he had just said that he was angry and was just saying things that he didn't really mean. Riley was with another girl at the time that he started liking Emma. He told Emma that he broke up with this other girl to be with her. And though this is true, Riley had told the other girl that he would take her to prom this year, which would be his junior year, and that he was going to take Emma to prom next year, which would be his senior year. And because of this, Emma's parents didn't really like Riley very much. As any other parent would, they wanted the best for their daughter, and they even tried to convince Emma to break up with Riley. So after Riley went off to college, Emma had saw Snapchats of him with other girls, and this is when Emma decided to call off their relationship for good. And at this time is when Emma's parents say that their tension at home had evaporated and they started getting along better. So everything changed one night in November 2016. Emma had gotten ice cream with her dad earlier that Sunday night, and then she decided she was going to go to bed early for school the next morning. Her dad went to her room to say goodnight to her and tell her that he loved her before going to bed himself. Later in the night, he awoke suddenly from a loud noise coming, and it sounded like it was coming from inside of the house. So, like any parent would, he went up and checked on Emma. He said that he opened her door and stared at her for 15 to 20 seconds before shutting the door and leaving to check on her brother. He said that she seemed like she was asleep, and it seemed like nothing was strange or out of place, and everything just seemed fine, and her brother seemed fine as well. So at 6:30 the next morning, Emma's mom came in to wake her up for school, and this is when she noticed that Emma wasn't waking up. She began searching for a pulse and couldn't find anything, and this is when they finally contacted the police. Emma's mom had made the call to the police, and the first responders arrived on the scene. Emma unfortunately did not have a pulse and was pronounced dead. Investigators looked around the scene for evidence, and it was said that there was a small amount of a red substance on her pillow that resembled blood, but there wasn't much of it, so nothing was really thought about it, and it wasn't thought of too much. So this is when people began texting Riley. They were texting Riley to see if he was okay and see if he knew what had happened. And this is where rumors of a suicide had started. It was rumored that Emma had committed suicide and had died of a drug overdose, but no one really knew what was going on. So it was a mystery. No one knew how she had passed, and investigators were working really hard to try to figure it out. But no one noticed a very small hole in the wall right beside Emma's pillow. So upon further investigation from outside of the house, they determined that the hole in the wall and the hole in Emma's head were caused by a gun. It was said that the gun was shot within 5 feet from the house, and it was obvious that it wasn't an accident because the gun had to have been pointing directly into Emma's room. They were able to determine what type of gun it was by the shell casings on the ground outside of the house. So we're going to backtrack a little bit until right before Emma's death. A couple weeks after breaking up, Riley had said that he had gotten kidnapped. Emma began receiving texts and phone calls saying that Riley was kidnapped. One day, Emma answered a call, and the details of this call are unknown, but she had said that Riley was in the background screaming for her name, was screaming her name and was screaming for help. So Emma and her friends had left where they were at because they were supposedly at a party or just hanging out or something, and they found Riley in a ditch with his hands above his head. Her friends said that Emma was screaming at him and that she was furious, as anyone would be. So this Saturday before Emma passed, she was driving home from a friend's house and had saw someone, a black figure, walking around the neighborhood. So as Emma got closer, this figure decided to scrunch up their hoodie and put on sunglasses so that their face would be hidden. When Emma went into her house, the person actually came up to the front door and began banging on the door. So she then texted Riley and said, "I hate you, but I need you right now." She told him to come over a FaceTime call because he was a sense of comfort for her, most likely. And Riley took it upon himself to check the house and check the neighborhood when he had gotten there, but no one had ever called the police. It was actually said that the police didn't find out about this until after Emma's passing. They were looking at security footage from a neighbor's house for some other case or something else that was going on, and that's how they found out about it. Some people pointed out that they thought it was Riley dressed in black because of the way he walked and the way he carried himself. So police took it upon themselves to try to find out if anything connected between this and Riley's kidnapping. So all of Emma's friends thought the kidnapping was fake and they thought it was a prank, and so did Emma when she had first received that phone call with Riley screaming in the background. So police began to question Riley about Emma's death. Police were skeptical about the kidnapping due to such a low crime rate in this area, and police had heard from Riley that he had called Emma that Sunday night and told her that he loved her. And Emma had responded with saying that she loved him too and that she cared for him but not for their relationship. Riley then said that he spent the remainder of the night in his college dorm room and the parking lot looking at old pictures of them. Riley said that he knew nothing of Emma's death until he received calls and texts the next morning. So police began to get weary of Riley's controlling nature of Emma. Emma's parents said that Riley was intent on driving a wedge between her and her family, and that he tried to convince her that he was all she had. He would also try to take up all of her time so that she couldn't really spend it with anyone else. As Riley was being questioned, he began to get nervous in interrogation and said, "I hope to God I'm not a suspect in her death. I would never hurt her. If anything, I would hurt myself before I hurt her." Police were suspectful of him, but they didn't have enough evidence to convict him of anything. But he was their #1 suspect, so police were trying to do everything they could to convict Riley of the crime. So this is where two boys, Alex and Noah, come into the picture. So Alex and Noah are both 18 years old, and they were both really close friends of Riley's, but they decided that they wanted to help the police convict Riley of the crime because they believed that he was guilty. So the police put listening devices on Alex and Noah. This was so that they couldn't hear the police, but the police could hear everything that was going on around them. They were trying to get Riley to admit to the murder. Riley's grandfather who Riley lived with at this time, reported a missing gun on the Saturday before Emma's death. The gun that went missing was the same gun that was found to have been shot through Emma's house and her head, and it was still not enough evidence to convict Riley of the murder because there was no proof that he was the one that went through with it. So cameras were placed in Riley's car and in his room, but when Alex and Noah went to question him about Emma, he denied everything. Riley admitted to having the gun, and he knew that the police were going to try to put the murder on him because of it. Riley said he was going to go to a place called the Bluffs and throw the gun into the Tennessee River. So Alex and Noah were going to go with him, and then they were going to text the police when Riley had the gun out and was going to throw it in the river so that the police could arrest him. Riley said if it's in the Tennessee River, they'll never be able to find it. Riley went to his stepdad's house where he had hid the gun and brought it out in a trash bag. He got into the car with Alex and Noah, and they began heading towards the Bluffs with the police following them. As the police were following them, they noticed that they decided to take a different direction. So the police had asked why, and Alex and Noah said that they wanted to pull up at a fast food restaurant and spend a last few moments with their best friend. So after this, they did continue on going down to the Bluffs, and the Bluffs actually had a gate around it, but Alex knew the code because of some previous work he used to do, so that they were able to get in. Riley took out the gun and he looked at it for a few minutes. Alex then texted the police saying that they could come get Riley now, but time passed and nothing really happened. So Alex began to panic, and he grabbed the gun from Riley and began basically talking about the gun to try to pass time. And as this is all happening, Noah's in the back seat just watching everything, wondering what's going on and why they're up here talking about the gun and not calling the police. So 2 minutes later, the police were able to get through the gate, which is apparently where they got held up and had a lot of issues with coming into the Bluffs. So they told everyone to put their hands up and get out of the car. They arrested Riley right there. Of course, Alex and Noah were safe, but Riley was charged with the murder of Emma Walker. The trial played out in court almost a year and a half later, and Riley pleaded not guilty to the first-degree murder of Emma Walker. Prosecutors Molly Martin and Kevin Allen were there to prove that Riley was guilty. This is where the story gets kind of confusing. Once they found out that Riley shot the gun, they didn't have much of a defense. So the plan was to defend Riley, and to do this, they were going to say that Riley shot the gun so that Emma would get scared and text him, just like she had when she saw the person dressed in black walking around the neighborhood. They were saying that Riley would then again come to Emma's rescue, and this was a way that he would get to see her again and be known as the hero who saved her from gunshots. They also admitted that the kidnapping was another stunt to try and get Emma's attention. So Emma and her friends were right when they initially thought that this was a prank. So Riley's defense attorney said that he was just trying to get another chance to see Emma. But it was obvious that this wasn't an accident by how close the gun was shot to the house, within a 5-foot radius. Riley could have chosen to shoot anywhere else. He could have shot into the air or at a tree. He could have shot anywhere to scare Emma, but he shot directly into her room, knowing that she would be sleeping. This wasn't a shot to scare her, it was a shot to kill her. So Riley went to great lengths to try and cover up his case, but 4 hours later, the jury came to a verdict. Riley, now 19 years old, was convicted to life in prison and at least 51 years without parole on a $750,000 bail. He is now located at the Knox County Jail in Tennessee. Her parents said that they are just relieved that he was convicted so that now they can have some sort of closure to this case. Emma volunteered and worked with animals in her free time, and because of this, a dog park was put up in her name in the Tennessee area. And in 2017, a NICU at Tennessee's Children's Hospital was named in honor of Emma because she wanted to be a nurse with babies when she finished all of her schooling. This is a very heartbreaking case. And it really kind of hits hard for me simply because Emma and I would be the same age, and it made me realize how much I actually take for granted, because there were all these things that Emma didn't get the chance to do, like finish high school and go to college and graduate from high school and just continue her life. At 16 years old, your life hasn't even really begun yet. You're still following everything your parents tell you to do, and you haven't yet had the chance to move out on your own and find out who you really are. So I feel very saddened by this case. And I just want to say rest in peace to Emma, and send out my condolences to her family, though they most likely will never see this video. But I just want people to know that there is people out there who care, and even after death, people aren't going to stop forgetting about things. People are always remembered, and they're never forgotten. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you choose to subscribe to my channel and stick around and see what other types of videos I upload. I'm going to be uploading more videos sort of like this, but also more of like the mysterious side where we don't really know what happened. But this is just a case that I found interesting and I found somewhat connected to, so I thought I would share it with you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.